So inequalities with negative coefficients. All right. So let's start off with something simple. Write down 6 is greater than 5. Okay, got 6 is greater than 5? Mm-hmm. Now, I want you to multiply both sides of the inequality by -1. What happens when you do that?
You get -6. But that's wrong now.
You get -6 is greater than -5. And Joe said it.
That's wrong.
That's wrong. So how do you make it right? What do you have to change?
-6 is less than -5.
You just change the sign, right?
Mm-hmm.
We multiplied by -1, but that means we have an incorrect statement. This is not correct. To make it correct, we reverse the sign, the inequality. Doing that enables us to solve the problem. All right? So that's not too hard. But do you understand that concept?
Mm-hmm.
All right, good. Because as we get to the harder stuff, that concept is going to apply.
Will it always change?
Not always, but it might. So you always want to check. Okay? Solve and graph this. -3x minus 10. Ooh, let's try it again. -3x minus 10 is greater than 8. Okay, this is an equation. I need to solve this equation. I want to isolate the variable, which is x. So what do I do first?
Subtract
Plus
or
10.
Add 10 on both sides because I am already subtracting. So -3x is greater than
18.
18. Then I am going to
Divide by -3.
I am going to divide by -3.
That
Now,
didn't work.
when you have an inequality, and you divide by a negative number, guess what you automatically are going to do to the sign?
Take away.
Switcheroo.
So now it's -3 is less than 8.
So if I divide by -3, I get x is less than
-6.
-6, correct?
So that's
All right, does that make sense? When I divided by my negative number, I also flipped the sign. All right?
it's just like finding.
Now graph it. So what would a graph of that look like? You draw a line.
So it's -6 and then going down.
So if this is -6, I need to show that x is less than that. So that's an open circle
Going down.
going to the left. Why open circle?
Because
Because it's not -6.
It's not equal.
It's not equal. Okay? It would only be closed circle if it could have been equal.
So it's like we're trying to find x, but we're not trying to find x. It's the same, like trying to find the same thing.
Yep.
How
Now,
first add.
what this inequality is telling us, only numbers less than -6 will solve this equation. And here's a proof to it. Give me a number less than -6.
Or negative. Or negative.
Less than, what?
Oh, negative.
-7.
-7. All right, so here's my original equation. -3x minus 10 is greater than 8. So if I plugged in -7, this should work. Okay? -3 times -7 is
21.
21.
21.
21 minus 10 is 11. Is 11 greater than 8?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the proof of what we did. Okay, you don't have to do that, but that's a way that you can prove it. We picked a number less than -6, plugged it into the original equation, and solved it.
Could you use -6?
No, because it's not equal to.
Oh,
It has to be less than. If it was this symbol, less than or greater than or equal to originally, then sure, but it wasn't. So you have to pick a number that is
Less.
part and parcel with what we were doing for that equation. So here's another equation to solve and graph. negative 5 times x minus 3 is greater than 5 times x minus 3. This one is a little more complicated. This one's going to involve us doing a little bit more stuff. So our first step is to use the distributive property. Okay, so the negative 5 has to go to these two, and the 5 has to go to these two. So that is negative 5x plus 15, right, is greater than 5x minus 15. Okay, so first step is done. Second step is I need to get all my variables onto the same side. Which one do you want to move, the negative 5x or the positive 5x? You tell me. Okay, so I'm going to subtract 5x on both sides. Oh, sorry, add 5x, I said that wrong. Add 5x on both sides.
10x.
Now I get 15 is greater than 10x minus 15.
15.
Right?
Yeah, so it's 5 on our
Okay.
Oh, I see, because
So
15
now-
is greater than 5.
Now I add 15 on both sides.
No.
30 is greater than 10x.
True.
Okay? Then I divide by 10 on both sides,
3.
which is 3 is greater than x.
So x is.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Now, I can also write this one to say x is less than 3. Right? It's the same thing, isn't it? If you watch, everything's pointed the right way as well. Okay, makes sense so far.
C.
And now we have to graph it.
Now you would have to graph it.
So you would
So
just,
the x is on the 3 and it's going back,
the circles.
backwards.
Okay,
towards
so
0.
if this is your line, here's 0, this is 3, open circle that way, because x is less than 3, right? Or 3 is bigger than x. Any number less than 3, if you plugged in for x in the original equation, should solve for it.
So
Okay.
2, 1.
If you pick 2, 1, 0 even, 0 would be a fun one because that makes your life a whole lot easier. Because if x was 0, then when you multiply the distributive property, you don't have anything left but stuff. So, all right, makes sense so far? Did I have to flip the sign this time?
No.
I didn't flip any sign, did I? Because I didn't have a negative variable, did I? Now, if I had subtracted 5x over here on both sides, then I potentially would have had to flip the sign. But you didn't give me that option. Okay, one more. 50 minus 50x is less than or equal to 30.
So that means we do the line under it?
Yep, less than or equal to 30. So this means the number could be that or anything less than it.
So we're going to do the closed in circle.
But first, before I get there, I'm going to subtract 50 on both sides. That gives me negative 50x is less than or equal to negative 20. Correct? Okay. Now I'm going to divide by negative 50 on both sides. That's also going to cause me to flip the signs. Okay? That gives me, I'm going to put my x. X is greater than or equal to 20 over 50. Okay? I could reduce that. I'm not graphing this. But if this was a word problem, now let's put this into the form of a word problem. If you bought a shirt that cost 50 bucks, okay, which is a Twins t-shirt at the Twins Pro Shop, okay, and you won't buy it, and you decide that shirt was too much, so you're actually not going to buy it, unless it is $30 or less. What's the discount it needs to be? Okay, well, what did we just do? I did 50 minus 50x is less than or equal to 30. I set it up for you. I set up the problem for you. What percent are you looking at?
7%,
No, 20 over 50.
30%?
Multiply both of these by 2 over 2.
40 over 100, so
40%. 40% is the magic number you're looking for.
It's always times.
40% or more is what you're going to look for. Okay? So you're looking for a number that's 40% or greater. That's your magic number. Okay? Now, if you were to give you a word problem in your assignment, they're going to set it up for you just like what we did. Okay? They're not going to make you pull it out thin air yet. Okay? All right, so any questions? So we are going to, you're going to move on to lesson 77. I'm going to start algebra, and then when I'm done, I'll have time for questions. Okie dokie? Cool. Nice work.